Right, we've got to the stage now where we're going to finish the bow, get it all sanded and ready for varnishing. Use different types of paper for this initially. We're going to start off with a 60 grit paper. This is a fabric back paper, find it easier when you're doing rounded surfaces. So we start off with a 60 grit, and then what I like to do then is go onto a very well used piece of 80 grit paper. This actually takes out the smaller tooling marks. Then we go on to 120 grit. Again, this is all fabric backed. This will take it down to nearly the finish that we want. Once you've finished with this one, we then go on to a 400 grit flower paper. And all of these papers are readily available through any do-it-yourself shop or hardware dealer. Once you finish with this will actually polish the wood. It'll actually look like it's being polished. Okay, we're going to start off with the 60 grit paper. This is ideal for taking out any of the tooling marks that you've left in there. So just don't go too mad on it, as it will take the wood off quite quickly. So we just take it nice and slowly round, and you just take this over the whole length of the bow. Try not to stay in one place too long, otherwise you will actually cause a little dip. Once you've done with a 60 grit paper, then go over to an 80 grit, and again all over the bow, just reducing the tooling marks even more. You can take this up into the horn. We will need to polish the horn, so don't worry too much about getting onto there. Okay, and again all over the whole bow. And once you're done with that one, onto the 120 grit, this will start to polish the bow. Again, all over the whole bow with that. It should start to get nice and smooth now. And then we finish up with the 400 grit paper. This is the flower paper, and this will give you a very nice polished finish. Okay, it's really starting to polish up nicely now. And with the horn, basically you're going to sand it exactly the same way as you do the wood of the bow. However, what we're looking to do is to try and remove any of these white small marks that are in it, which are scratches. If you can actually get all those out, when you come to varnish the bow, it will really look nice. So we basically just take any of those out we can. And if you're not quite sure whether or not it's a scratch or a piece of marbling in the horn, then just stop, because if it is marbling, you'll carry on and you will not be able to get it out. Just to take a look at it, if you just wet your hand and just have a look at it, you can see how nice that's going to come out when that's varnished. So I'm quite happy with that. So do that on all over the bow and all over the horn, and then you'll be ready for your varnishing, and that's your finish of your bow. Right, now we've finished with the sanding, it's now time to seal the wood. What I'm going to use is this is a sanding sealer. What this actually does, it stops any of the fibres lifting on the wood when you varnish it. It's very, very good stuff. You need only a very small amount of it on there. What it will also do is start to bring the colours in the wood out, and it'll show up any tooling marks that you may have missed when you're sanding. It's available from a company called Craft Supplies. It's online, you can get this. They are based in England, but I'm sure anyone anywhere will be able to get it online. Once we've actually done the sanding sealer, it's now time to coat the bow. We can use various varnishes you can use. The one I prefer is made by a company called Rustin's. It comes as two parts. You've got the hardener, and you've also got the actual resin itself. You mix these two together at 1 to 4. So it's 1 part hardener to 4 parts of the resin. This will go on like water. Now there's a couple of ways you can actually apply this. You can either use a very large tube and dip the bow and just hang it, or I prefer to use a small sponge and just sponge it on. The finish will be absolutely superb. It will be a very glassy finish, and once that's dry, normally takes about 40 minutes to dry, but it will really harden after 24 hours. Once that's hardened, then you can take a small bit of wire wool with some furniture polish and just take it back to a satin finish if you don't like the high gloss.